Okay, continuing on with our prior video, there are a number of reasons or explanations for one state or nation's economic strength or weakness relative to other nations. So, in summary, what makes a nation economically strong or weak? Now, there are a number of theories on this point. Now, the purpose of this lecture series is to demonstrate the effect of law or the legal system that has on the economic productivity of the state. That is, how does the law or legal system of a nation affect its total economic output or economic output per individual? Now, with that in mind, it's important to look at and understand some of the other theories. Now, first, let's look at the natural resource theory. The idea that a nation is strong or weak based on based on the natural resources at its disposal or present in the nation. Well, the presence of natural resources or resources that can be converted into productive activity or product that can be a bridge or link to the world or greater economy through import-export, and the industry that develops around that natural resource is obviously a strong indicator or effect of what level of economic output a nation is capable of. But it alone is not an explanation. There are nations that are less economically strong than others that are rich and abundant in natural resources, particularly per capita. And there are some nations that have strong natural resources or an abundance of natural resources, and the overall gross domestic product or gross domestic product per capita is very low in those nations. So that's not a complete explanation. Related to that and to the presence of natural resources is the climate theory. That is, climate allows individuals to be more productive because in a favorable climate, they can spend longer hours working and produce more during that time because of the favorable climate or conditions. Conversely, an unfavorable climate or conditions would limit the ability of an individual to work longer hours or to have a greater output. But again, there are nations with very favorable climates with long work days and things like that that do not have a total domestic output that is very high or have a per individual low domestic product. So again, the climate of a nation is not a complete explanation of why a nation would be weak or strong. Another theory is education or technology, and this is kind of a chicken or the egg scenario. Which comes first? Does a nation become economically prosperous and strong because of the education level of its individuals or the total technological innovation in the nation, or is it the reverse? Does technological innovation beget higher level of education for the people due to a greater gross domestic product and a greater accumulation of wealth among individuals? So now the gross domestic product of a nation in some nations is strongly dependent upon technology education, especially in service-based industries rather than production-based industries, such as your manufacturing countries of the world versus your service-providing countries of the world. Okay, so again, education and technology is not a full explanation as to why a nation can have high gross domestic output versus a low domestic output. Then there's the cynical view of the dependency theory that any nation that is prosperous economically is so at the expense of another nation, that this nation is somehow taking advantage of the overall resources or the wages, the low wages, the labor, the natural resources, etc. of another nation and using it to their own benefit. So in that way, the more economically productive nation is, again, holding down the weaker economically productive nation. Again, that's a cynical view. Many studies have demonstrated that there can be mutual benefit between trade and relations between nations, that comparative advantages allow nations to do what they do best and all nations prosper. So again, that's not a great explanation. The explanation that we put forth in this video series is a theory that the legal system is one of, if not the greatest driver of economic productivity per individuals and overall grossly for a nation, because the legal system allows for confidence. It allows for individuals to enter into the transactions that account for productivity. When an individual, a business, a person, can enforce their rights or be certain or secure in their rights, they are more likely to enter into more transactions. They're going to do greater business. They will trust. They don't have to depend on trust of other people in order to carry on business. That is, the exchange of goods for payment, the exchange of services for payment, because they have a greater belief that if the other party does not live up to their obligations under the bargain, that the legal system provides them a remedy, a way to enforce those rights. And there is a strong belief that the state or nation will recognize their rights, their interests in property, ownership rights, etc. So again, we put forth that theory as a strong variable in the determination of economic strength of or weakness of a nation, and we'll continue on with that theme throughout this video series.